Hey, I'm Tom with A Precise Home Inspection, and if you're new to our channel, please hit the like and subscribe button to follow all of our future content. Here at A Precise Home Inspection, our goal is always to protect and educate home buyers, but here on our channel, we're really interested in educating anybody, whether you're a home seller, home buyer, anybody who's interested in homes. But this video is going to be a little more geared towards home inspectors. We're going to teach how we inspect kitchens, so let's go ahead and get started. So here we are in the kitchen. This is Sean. He's one of our inspectors. He is going to help us inspect this kitchen. We're going to go over step by step through our routine and how we thoroughly and efficiently inspect the kitchen. So first thing we want to do is turn on all the lights. We want to inspect and check all of the lights anyway, but we also want to work in a well-lit area. So we'll get all the lights turned on first. Alright, so we do have one light fixture that's not lit, so we'll report on that and point that out to our client. The next thing that we want to do is the three most time-consuming things about inspecting a kitchen are turning the oven on, filling up the kitchen sink, and starting the dishwasher. We want that dishwasher to run and be complete by the end of our inspection, so those are the first three things we're going to start with. So we'll start here at the kitchen sink. One of the things we want to do is we actually want to fill up the sink, I'd say at least halfway full. If you just run a little bit of water, it might not generate a leak. But if you were to actually fill up the sink, the weight and the pressure from that water can generate a leak. So we'll start by filling this up. So to fill up our kitchen sink, we're going to use these rubber sink stoppers. A lot of vacant homes aren't going to have anything to stop up the sink, so we carry these with us. But we'll go ahead and start filling this up. And we are also going to check our faucet. We'll check the spray, the pour feature. We also want to check to make sure that our sink sprayer functions and does not leak. And we want to check to make sure that our faucet is secured to the base. So the next thing we'll do is start our dishwasher. During the inspection of the dishwasher, we want to pull out all of the drawers. We want to make sure that everything is functioning properly, and we also want to make sure that it is secured in place. There should be screws securing it to the sides of the cabinets or to the underside of the countertop. But if everything looks good, we will run it through a quick cycle. So now that we have those three time-consuming things going, we'll continue with inspecting the rest of the appliances. So with the refrigerator, we want to open every door, check, make sure that our door seals are good, make sure that we don't have any physical damage to our shelves. We're also going to constantly be looking for moisture damage to the flooring in front of it, to the flooring on the sides. An ice maker water supply line is a very common leak that we find, so definitely want to look for moisture damage. We're also going to check the ice dispenser and the water dispenser. We use these collapsible bowls to check those. So we'll check to make sure that our ice dispenser and water dispenser are working properly. So this ice dispenser is not working. So then we will try the water. And then we'll also look on the inside to see if there is ice in the ice maker and the dispenser's not working. We'll try to narrow that down if it's an issue with the ice dispenser itself or the ice maker. So we'll come back to this in a moment when we do our thermal images to get temperatures on the refrigerator and the freezer. So now we'll go ahead and do our range oven combination. One of the things we want to note in our report is how it is fueled. So this one has electric ovens with gas burners. We will make sure that all of our burners work. So this one has the 6 gas burners and then the griddle. So we'll make sure that all of those work.
Looks like we have one that doesn't light here.
Alright, so we'll note that one burner in our report. Next thing we will do is shut all those off and check our oven doors. We want to check the glass on our oven doors, and we also want to check the door seals. Alright, and then we will check temperatures to make sure that all of our elements inside the oven are heating during a step here in a few minutes. Now we'll go ahead and inspect the range hood. A couple things that we're going to look for is how is it vented, whether it recirculates back into the room or if it vents to the exterior. This one we know that it does vent to the exterior because we already did the roof and there's a vent right above it. Another thing is we're going to make sure that all of the lights work. This one is pretty unique because it has these heat bulbs, so we'll check those as well. So there's our exhaust, there's our lights, and there's our heat bulbs. A couple things that we noticed with this one is that all of the filters are missing completely, and then our control panel that holds all of our buttons is actually broken. And then another thing is that this track right here that holds the filters in place, there's a weld that broke right here, so this is probably why the filters are missing. So we'll note those defects in our report and have that conversation with our clients. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and check our microwave. We are going to use this microwave tester that you can get at Internachi. It's just a simple little device where you put it inside the microwave. They recommend that you put a cup of water in there, but we just put it in there for about 10 seconds, and if it lights up, it's going to show that their microwave is actually emitting microwaves. It's not that common, but we do find a few here and there that actually make the noise, but they don't do anything. So this home does have a pot filler, so we'll just check the pot filler to make sure that it does work. When you're doing your inspection, I always recommend that you are physical, meaning that you are pulling on faucets and checking basically everything to make sure that it's tight. So everything looks good on this. Alright, so now we're going to use our thermal camera, and we're going to take a couple temperatures from the kitchen sink, the oven, and from the refrigerator. So we'll start at the kitchen sink. We want to make sure that our hot water is at a safe temperature, but also show that our water heater is working. So here you can see our water is at about 150 degrees. That is pretty hot. We typically recommend between 120 and 130 degrees. That's just to prevent anybody from getting scalded. Now we'll move over and we will just get temperatures on the oven. This is just going to make sure that all of the elements, the bake element and the broil element inside the oven are working. So right now we'll just check for the oven. After this we'll switch it to broil and then we'll come back in a moment. So now we're going to get some temperatures off our refrigerator and our freezer. For the refrigerator, anything close to 50 degrees or warmer is a concern. We want to make sure that the refrigerator is cooling, and then we'll move on to the freezer. Obviously, if there's frozen food in the freezer, it's freezing, but some of our homes are vacant and they are empty. So the thermal camera is very helpful for determining that everything is working properly. Broil elements have been turned on for a few minutes. We'll go ahead and check those. Alright, those are working, so now we can go ahead and shut the oven completely off. Now we're going to check our garbage disposal and we will drain our kitchen sink. First we want to see what kind of visibility we have to all the components underneath the sink, and here we have quite a few limitations, so we are going to move a couple things out so that we can see better, and then we'll put those items back once we're done. Alright, so now that our sink is clear of those obstructions, we are going to go ahead and drain the sink, run the garbage disposal, check for leaks. There's a couple other things that we're going to look for as well. We want to make sure that our dishwasher has a high loop. We also want to make sure, because this is an island, that we have a vent. So we're going to look for an air admittance valve under there. Alright, so we'll go ahead and pull our stopper and run the disposal, and we'll watch for leaks. All right, so we didn't have any leaks. While we're down here, we're also going to make sure that our wire, the power cord going into the bottom of the disposal, has a wire clamp if necessary. This one has a plug type of cord that doesn't have a clamp, but that's okay. Another thing that we noticed while we're looking down here is that there are some mouse droppings. So we'll note that there were droppings found in the cabinet and let our clients know about that. So we do have an air admittance valve. That's going to allow the plumbing system to vent, but not allow any wastewater to come up through that vent. We don't have a high loop on our dishwasher drain hose. So that is something that drain hose should be secured to the bottom of the countertops to create that high loop. That prevents any contaminated dishwasher from draining into our dishwasher. Most of your dishwasher manufacturers are going to require that, so we'll point that out. Have this small bar sink completely full of water. We will go ahead and just inspect this one just like we did the other one. A wine refrigerator over here, which we are going to inspect just like we did the other refrigerator. We'll check the door seals, check the glass, check for any physical damage, and also get temperatures off of it. Alright, so now that we are done with all of our appliances and we're done with our sinks, we're going to go around the kitchen. We're going to check drawers, cabinet doors. We're going to make sure that our countertops are secured. We'll test every accessible receptacle. All of our receptacles that are within 6 feet of the sinks, we are going to make sure that they are GFCI protected, because this is an older home. If we come across any windows that do open, we will test the windows. The ones that do not open, we will just check for damage, failed seals, things like that. We have some under cabinet lighting there. Alright, so as we're checking our receptacles, we're going to use just a basic electrical tester that has a GFCI testing function. We'll put it into the receptacle, and any of the ones that should be GFCI protected, we'll push our test button, and we heard it pop over here behind this coffee maker. So we'll go ahead and reset that. So with this one being within 6 feet of that sink, it should have been GFCI protected, and it is. So we'll continue moving along. We will check all of these doors, all of these drawers. We do see some cracking here in our concrete countertops, so we will note this in our report. We'll work our way all the way around this island and work our way back to the other side. We're looking at these two windows. We do notice a couple things. These ones have been replaced. These are a much newer window than the ones over there. So a couple things that we see is that there's no drywall, which we really don't note on. That's just a cosmetic thing, but we might mention it to our clients. But we do see some moisture damage at the bottom corners. With these windows being newer, there should be what's called a pan flashing there, like a rubber membrane type of tape to prevent that moisture damage. So we'll point that out to our clients and note it in our report. Alright, so we are going to inspect these windows next. These are picture windows, so they don't open. This window, it's pretty difficult to tell from in here, but from the exterior, it did look like it had a failed seal. This is a south-facing window also, so anytime that we think that a window may be failed, but we're not positive, a good tip is that if it is south-facing, it's going to get a lot more sun exposure, and it's likely a failed seal. During your inspection, you may have some hazards. Don't want to trip over this happy guy here. A tip that I would recommend for every inspector to do in every room is when you are done is to take a very good flashlight and white light all of your ceilings and maybe even your exterior walls. This ceiling might not show a whole lot because it is wood, but on a drywall ceiling, we regularly find moisture stains and leaks that we were not able to see until we shined a very bright white flashlight at it. All of our inspections, when we're done with every room, this is the last thing that we do, is that we white light our exterior walls and our ceilings. So here, if you look at this drywall, we don't see a moisture stain here, but you can just see how much more detail you can see when you shine a white light. There's definitely a little bit of imperfections in the drywall that you just wouldn't otherwise see if you didn't shine a white light with it. And the same thing will go with when there's a moisture stain or a patch or previously made repairs, things like that. So can't recommend it enough to get yourself a bright white flashlight. Alright, so we're pretty much wrapped up with the kitchen. Some of the things I wanted to point out is that the kitchen is such an important part of your inspection. This is typically where people hang out. If the buyer's agent and the home buyer are not going to be actively following you around, this is kind of where they hang out. So this is a very good place to get some FaceTime, to, if you haven't worked with the agent before, to get to know them, to build that relationship, be very friendly. Also, in our inspection process, if we are doing the kitchen, that means that we've already done the exterior, the roof, and the garage. So this is a time where we would give them updates. You want to give periodic updates throughout your inspection, so that's where we would go ahead and update them on those couple areas. But once we're completely done, the last thing that we're going to do is make sure that our oven and burners are turned off before we move on. The dishwasher is still running. At the very end of our inspection, we're going to come back. We're going to check to make sure that it's cycled through every function, that there's not standing water in the bottom of it, and that it didn't leak. So we'll come back to this at the end, but that's about it. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you like it, click like, maybe give it a share, and subscribe to our channel. So again, I'm Tom with the A Precise Home Inspection. Thank you for watching.